Most people have fond memories of playing with dolls when they were younger, making up stories for each of them or styling their hair. However, normally children grow out of this at a certain age and move on with their lives, but in one case, a man grew to be fascinated with them. Not regular plastic dolls, but real people who he made into dolls. This is the disturbing story of Anatoly Moskvin.
Да, я понимал, что это не...
Moskvin was born in 1966 and lived in Nizhny Novgorod, a city in Russia. He was described as highly intelligent and preferred to live alone with his parents, refusing to get married, drink, smoke, etc. As a child, he would walk through cemeteries with his friends, specifically Krasnaya Etna Cemetery in the Lenensky district of the city. One day, he witnessed a funeral procession for an 11-year-old girl, and whilst watching, he was forced by the girl's mother to kiss her dead daughter, putting a wedding ring on each of them and claiming they were now married. According to Anatoly, this girl began to visit him in his dreams, causing him to lose sleep. She supposedly claimed the only way to stop these dreams was to bring her the tooth of another person, which he got from a classmate. Don't know how he managed that one, but alright. And the dreams stopped. He claims this is what started his fascination with the dead. As he grew up, Moskvin was interested in cemeteries and was known to be an expert in them in the city he lived in. For this reason, he was commissioned by the publisher Oleg Ryabov to write about the dead in the 700 cemeteries in the 40 regions of Nizhny Novgorod Oblast, which is about the size of Czech Republic. He took his job very seriously and travelled around on foot, visiting the graves in 752 cemeteries, walking up to 18 miles per day. He drank from the puddles and even slept in a coffin, which was to be used for a funeral the following day. He was occasionally questioned by the police in relation to what he was doing, but once he explained his academic works, Anatoly was allowed to continue. Once the job had ended, Moskvin headed home and worked as a freelance writer. However, in his spare time, he would still visit the cemeteries in his local area, and after a while, people noticed that their family members' graves looked like they'd been touched or messed with. One day in 2011, the police noticed Anatoly painting on a grave, and because they were looking for the person who had been touching other graves, they questioned him and he agreed to take them back to his apartment. Once they arrived, the officers noticed life-size dolls around his home, along with the headstone plaques from graves, maps of cemeteries, and doll-making manuals. They could smell the stench of decaying bodies and realised quickly that these life-size dolls were not just an innocent hobby. Moskvin made 29 dolls by mummifying dead bodies from graves that he dug up and putting tights over the head of each one and placing a doll's face over their own. He also placed any of the personal items that they were buried with inside and a box that played music inside the chest of each doll. He argued that he always wanted children but wouldn't have them biologically or through adoption, so therefore he dug up the graves of children to take them home with him. Anatoly would celebrate their birthdays and holidays and watch cartoons with them, claiming he really cared about them and that he hoped one day they would be able to be brought back to life through science or magic in the future. The longest doll he had was for 9 years and was the body of 10-year-old Olga Shardomova, and many believe he had more but had to throw them out due to rotting. It is also believed that he vandalized over 150 other graves before he was caught. Anatoly Moskvin claimed he did all of this because he felt bad for the children who die so early on in life, and that he had heard them calling out of their graves for him to dig them up and bring them home. He said he used to sleep on the graves of these children, but eventually it became too painful to lie on the ground at night, so instead he sought permission from their spirits and brought them home. Despite this though, Anatoly Moskvin was freed of any criminal liability due to his diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, and he was instead sent to a medical facility to receive psychiatric treatment. He is still in this facility today, but claims he wants to get out, get back to writing, and maybe find a partner. His parents claim they had no idea that the dolls in Anatoly's apartment, which I think they also lived in at some point, were actual dead bodies, with his father having a heart attack in reaction to being told this, and his mother having to be hospitalized for shock. This is honestly one of the most disturbing cases I have ever come across, and it totally freaks me out looking at the dolls that he kept inside his home for so many years. I really hope the families are able to heal after finding out that the graves that they'd mourned over for their children were empty, and instead their bodies were in Anatoly Moskvin's home. So let me know your thoughts on this case below. Do you think that the sentence that Moskvin was handed was fair? It has been rumoured that he claimed if he gets released that he will go back to grave robbing, something that many of the victims' parents are concerned about and are advocating for him to stay in the psychiatric facility. Whatever happens though, I hope this never happens again, and that these innocent children are able to rest and their families able to grieve in peace.